Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts Spider-Man PS4 Advanced Suit figure. Now this I got straight from Japan. Today it was dropped off, so I ordered from Amazon Japan. You do it just like you order from Amazon here in the US, or I guess in Canada or anywhere around the world that you might be. So us here in the States, we are able to order from Amazon Japan, and I believe with your Prime membership you get a discounted shipping, because I only paid just under $60 for this shipped, and it was shipped like on Monday, arrived today, which is Wednesday, so it came ridiculously fast. Now keep in mind, I did pre-order this as soon as the pre-orders went up, so maybe at that time the price was a little bit better. I know if you have it imported or you get it through a third-party seller or somebody that imports in, it's going to be a little bit higher priced. I don't even know if Big Bad Toy Store was selling it. It was probably extremely high price as well, but I believe this is a web exclusive or online only, straight out of Japan. There will not be a US release on this figure. I could absolutely be wrong on that, but I believe it was Japan only. But anyway, I got it here today. The game was so awesome, I just had to get this figure. So you guys know that I'm a Marvel Legends guy. Yes, I have some Mezco, but it's MCU figures only. Yes, I have some SH Figuarts, but again, it's MCU Spider-Man only. So here, I'm branching out a little bit because the game was just so awesome, so I had to get this, and it's not something that I would normally collect. But it's so awesome. I couldn't pass it up. So I'm very happy to have it. We're gonna open this thing up, but first let's take a look at the really cool package. We have Spider-Man here. We get the Spider-Man game logo. I don't know what this says. It's all in Japanese. I have no clue. I'm gonna bust out like the Google Translate and see if it'll say something. So side artwork looking pretty awesome with some images direct from the game. There we get another one there. On the back of the package we get a look at some of the cool accessories that it comes with, some awesome poses for Spider-Man, and then the different lenses that he comes with, so you can switch out all kinds of Japanese lettering. Don't know what any of it means. Spider-Man SH Figuarts. It is the advanced suit there, and then here on the bottom is a bunch of other information that I have no idea. Oh, I forgot to mention the Gamerverse logo is there. So it is part of the Gamerverse, which I know is across multiple lines. So Funko Pop, Marvel Legends, SH Figuarts, anything really based on Marvel video game will get that Gamerverse. So can't wait. Let's open this thing up and take a look at the figure. Okay, so I'm really curious of what this says. So Google Translate, let's see. It says first time promotion, exclusive base, first time village, first time special, built-in magnet. So Google Translate isn't the best. Dedicated pedestal, private stand, what genus included. So I have no idea. Anyway, I think it says something like a special magnet. I don't think it's magnet. Ooh, there is a magnet. Look at that. But pretty cool. So here's a look at all the accessories. So we get the spider drone, we get the 2 web bombs, we get all these different interchangeable hands there, we get the tools needed. That's for the stand, which comes right there. He has a cell phone, and then we have the different web lines, the same that we see with the other Spider-Man figures. And the tool to change out the lenses. This looks like a new web piece. I don't think I recognize that. So really cool, the figure there. We also get this instruction sheet or booklet here that shows you the different things that it comes with. So again, we have the open hands, the web holding hands. These are open hands, I guess, or holding hands. The fists, wall crawling hands, thwipping hands. Again, changing up the heads, you could see it has that peg. I wonder if it's an easy, it just pops off like the Far From Home one. Here we have, shows how to do the lenses. Holding the different web lines, so you could see you put the hole into the peg on the wrist and then put the hand on to make it look like the web is actually coming out. I'm not sure what any of this says, but you can hold the phone, pop out that part in the back for the stand. Nothing on the inside, so let's get to it and take this guy out of the plastic. Alright, and here is the Spider-Man figure out of the package, and this thing is awesome. We're going to get right into it. Let's take a closer look at the figure and look at all the joints, and we'll go over the articulation. I'm going to do some comparison with some other SH Figuarts Spider-Man figures, and of course I'll compare it to the Marvel Legends figure, the 6-inch and the 3 3/4 inch, since I do have both of those. So let's get right to it. Okay, so here's a close-up look at the Spider-Man figure, and this thing is awesome, but there's also a lot going to it, and I don't know why it seems like there's much more articulation things going on than compared to like the Far From Home Spider-Man. It's all got all the same articulation points, but it's just for whatever reason, it's more noticeable on this, I guess because of the bright blue compared to the black where it kind of hides itself a little bit, but came out looking really good. Now the paint apps are outstanding on this thing. The white comes off looking very good. I have no issues paint anywhere. The web lines all came out clean and everything. Even look at the back of the figure, all looks good. It looks weird right there because that's where you pop it out so you can get it into the stand. But yeah, everywhere the paint apps are solid and it looks awesome. I mean, even the feet look great. Look at the detail even on the bottom of the feet. You get that tread that we see in the video game. All looks really, really good. I like that. We even get the little padding for his feet, his knuckles on all the hands. Just looks really, really good. I like the way this figure came out looking. So it is awesome. So now we'll kind of zoom out and we'll take a look at the articulation while keeping in mind, bear with me, that I don't do a lot of import figures and there's a lot of things going on with this one. So I'll try and go over it the best that I can with all the different movements that it can make. I'm not sure what it is, but I have a hard time wanting to get this figure to stay standing. Oh, see? But anyway, let's go over the articulation. So head, he can look all the way down, so you get that neck that actually pivots in there. There's also a hinge, but that hinge only gets the head to go down that much, and then you got to use the neck to get him to look all the way down. Looking up, you're going to have to use the hinge on the neck because that neck piece doesn't really give you the motion so you can look up. It just kind of just goes down. So he can look all the way up though, which is good. There is the full swivel, of course, in the head. This one does come off, but it does not come off as easily as the Far From Home head did. You can work some pivot. There's not really a whole lot. It's just, you know, a tiny bit that you can really work in there. Shoulders, so you can get the shoulder on this ball to go up. Let's see. See, here's where, you know, those import figures, you gotta kind of work it. So I can only get the shoulder to go up that high. So you have this butterfly joint that's in there, so you can get it to go back. You can get it to go forward a little bit, and then this bicep portion of the arm, there's also a ball joint there that you can kind of work also, and so you just have to really work it and be careful with it, you know, but you can get that arm to turn within the butterfly, so then you can get it to do all kinds of different movements in there, so you can, you know, get the arm to kind of cross over like that. So that's what the good thing about the butterfly joint. And then going back, again, you kind of have to work it. You can get that arm to go back a little bit there. So you can get a full rotation in there, of course. There's no bicep swivel or anything. You get a double jointed elbow, which works out really good. The wrist is on a ball joint, so you can get all kinds of fluid motion with the wrist. Okay, there is the diaphragm joint here, so you can get some pivot in the sides. Going forward, you can get that ab to go that much forward on its own, or go that far back on its own, which is really good. And then you have this other piece there, so you can get him to come forward this much, but watch out, look at that huge gap in his back. Now, I was looking at the Far From Home Spider-Man figure when kind of doing the same thing. It does have a gap, but there's like, it doesn't come down as much, so it's not as noticeable, whereas here, the way it's cut, it comes off like crazy. Look at that, the Far From Home figure head popped right off when doing that. So it's weird that they would have that huge gap and not have something in there to kind of cover that up. But I guess depending on the pose that you're doing, if you're doing it from the front, you're not going to see that gap anyway. So there's that. And then you can get some rotation in that joint as well, that lower abdomen. You can actually get a fair amount of movement, so you can do some things like that. So that is actually really good there. There's no swivel, so that's why you kind of get that turn motion in there. The legs can go out that far apart, so you can do full splits. Kicking forward, he can't kick forward that much all the way. Goes back quite a bit. and then there's this turn at the upper thigh, so you can turn it that way. It's not a full swivel, but you can get a lot of turns in there. So you can work it to where you can actually get the leg even higher when turning it and then kicking it forward. There is a double jointed knee, which looks very natural. I like the way that looks. Now the hinge on the ankle, you're not getting a whole lot down. That's all it will move because the back of the foot is hitting the calf. And oh wait, there it goes. You just have to work it a little bit. So you can't get to hinge all the way down. Hinging up, you're gonna have to work it around that leg, and it's not working out as good for me there. Then you do get toe articulation there. So that's the articulation. Now keep in mind that some of these joints are a little bit weird. So you have this butt portion here, this butt plate, and that kind of can move around with the figure also, I think, to kind of keep it natural looking. So like right there, you can move it because it's not going to look as good. So it kind of moves with it to make the leg look full. So a couple of things to keep in mind there, and that's just, you know, that's kind of how it is with the SH Figuarts and the import figures as my display station kind of goes down. So now let's look at his accessories. Okay, so looking at the accessories that he comes with, so he comes with the spider drone, which is really cool. So in the game, you know, at times you actually play as the drone to get through certain situations and whatnot. So pretty cool. It has a little peg there. I don't know if that peg is gonna actually come in play with this thing somehow, but these legs are real soft plastic, so you want to be kind of careful about those there. We get 2 web bombs, and he has hands to actually hold these, so I'll kind of show you guys that here pretty soon. So it's really cool, just this metallic red with a little bit of silver on there, and then he comes with the cell phone, and this thing is so unbelievably small and tiny. There's no details on it or anything. It's just a rectangle with an interior rectangle, and on the back it looks like, you know, that's where the camera would be. So, you know, it looks like it'd be an Android phone, and I'm scared I'm going to lose that and dropping that around. And then this web piece is actually something new. So this web piece, actually what you do is you wrap this around his hand, so when he's holding the webs and swinging, this kind of just drapes down like it's the end of the web. So that's kind of cool. I'll show you guys how that looks. So I had to look at the instructions to see what this thing really was for, and that's what it is. So kind of cool. So now we'll take a look at some of those things with the hands holding them. See, so just like that, that web piece is going to go wrap around the hand as if he's holding it when swinging the web. So that's something new that is not included with the MCU Spider-Man figures. Okay, so here he has these open holding hands. So at first in the instructions I was like, oh, he have 2 hands for web holding. No, these are separate hands. So what these are going to do is he can actually hold the cell phone. So you're just going to kind of slip it in there, and he's going to hold it like so in the hand. Now that's a tiny ass phone. So I think Tamashii, you know, SH Figuarts, they made that phone way too small, but it does fit in the hand, and it's not really going anywhere. So that's pretty good. So he has a good grip on it. So if, you know, you're using the drone, if you're doing some kind of shot with the drone, you would have him holding the phone, and that's how he's going to control the drone. Now at the same time, according to the instructions, these same hands should hold the web bombs, and I don't know about that. Maybe if you do like a certain pose and you can hold it like that, but that is not secure at all. But that's what the instructions said. You know, it showed the same hand, but that definitely doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. Let's see if there's a different set of hands that will do that. So I looked at the instructions. Again, it's these open hands where this actually holds, and it holds fairly well. So I had to try this a couple of times. So it's just the open hand, like so, and then you can just kind of place it in there and just kind of push it so it's kind of secured in there between these fingers and the thumb, surprisingly, and it actually holds fairly well. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so like with the thwip hand, I'm going to show you, we have the web pieces, and it has this ring, so it plugs into the wrist peg. So one cool thing about that, before I show you guys how to do that, these web lines are a white plastic, whereas the MCU Spider-Man ones, they came with a semi-translucent whitish color web. These ones are pure white, so it's a little bit of a change up from those, but they are the same mold. So we get the wrist peg, and then you put that going around, and then you have the web shooter right there. So you would wrap this here to make it look like the web is coming right out of the web shooter. Then you get your hand and you peg it in, so boom, it actually looks like the web is coming out of the web shooter. So that's a pretty cool little feature that that Tamashii Nations has done for the SH Figuarts. So that's kind of nice when you can do certain poses and make it look like the web is actually coming from the web shooter. So pretty cool. Okay, so for the web holding hand, and I'm going to kind of show you guys this. Let's see if we'll do it with the hand pegged on the wrist. So this piece, what you're going to do is it has that little peg piece, so it's going to port into the bottom of the hand. So you port it in first, and then you kind of work it onto the hand, so it kind of goes over a little bit as if it's kind of wrapped around his hand, and it popped off the wrist peg, of course. I'm scared. I'm always scared I'm going to break those wrist pegs. And then you can port this into the open hole at the top of the hand, so it makes it look like as you're swinging through, he's holding it, and then it's kind of wrapped around his hand, so he's got a firm grip around the web. So that's actually kind of a neat feature that, you know, we hadn't seen before with any of the Spider-Man figures. You know, the hand, he just kind of holds it there, and that's kind of it. But this just kind of gives it a little bit of added look to it. So that's kind of cool. So you can use it the right way depending on how you use it in some of your shots and your pictures and things like that. So I like the way that looks. Okay, another thing is this figure actually comes with an additional interchangeable head. I'm not really sure why, whereas the other MCU Spider-Man figures didn't come with two heads. It only just came with the one. But this one, the lenses actually cannot be changed, and you can see it's actually kind of wide-eyed. So to switch it out, you just pop this up right there. You just pull it off. It's very easy to do so. And then you just port that one on, and that's it. And that's kind of the surprised look that you have for the figure. And again, the lenses do not change on that, and I think that looks pretty good. But in order to change the lenses, again, inside of there, if I can get some bright light in there, you see those black pegs? You actually just push those out, and it forces these lenses out so you can actually change them. So I'm going to go through there, and I'm going to show you the different lens sizes. Okay, so in keeping the regular lens that's out of the package on the your left side, but the figure's right side, you can actually see how big it is compared to slightly squinted. And now for the next size. Okay, and then there's the next size there. There's actually not a whole lot different, whereas this one's a lot more kind of rounded on both sides, whereas that other side, there was kind of a flat portion down at the end. So just kind of gives you a little bit of a different look, but you can see how big of a difference it is from the regular one that comes on the figure. So now in the bright light, they look white, but they're more of a silver color, kind of like the Far From Home one. It was actually, I guess, a little bit more silver, a little bit brighter. You could tell a little bit more, but it's definitely not just a white color. Okay, and as far as the stand goes, it's just a real thin piece, and you're just going to kind of piece it together. So you put the plastic end here, and then this end that turns out will actually port into the back of the figure to hold it in place. Now the magnet that it does come with, you can actually just put that onto like a refrigerator, some kind of metal surface, and then this is going to port right on into the back of the figure to make it look like he is up against the wall. Now it's not really going to make sense with like trying to do some kind of wall climb, because the port is in the back of the figure. So you're just going to get your finger and kind of pull out that piece there, and that's going to reveal where the stand piece is going to go. So the package actually comes with this extra piece here to where you're going to port this in to the back of the figure, and that's where you're going to put the stand. So you can get him up against the wall, but like you can't do it forward wall crawling with that magnet, which is a little unfortunate. But that's how the stand would work. Okay, and here are the other Gamerverse Spider-Man figures. So we have the Marvel Legends version, the SH Figuarts, the 3 3/4 inch Gamerverse figure, and then the only Mr. Negative figure there is. So it'd be nice to get Mr. Negative or some of the villains, all of the villains. It would be great to get any of those figures. We do know that 2 additional figures are coming based on the game, and that is the Spider Armor Mark II, and I want to say the Velocity suit. I could be wrong. Correct me down below if I am wrong. When those figures were first announced, I was thinking, meh. I could have thought of better figures for the game, and I probably still could. But then seeing them in person at San Diego Comic-Con, they were pretty freaking awesome. I mean, amazing looking. They look great in figure form, so I am happy that we're going to get it. Will we get additional ones? Who knows? It's anybody's guess. I think it's starting to get real late for additional figures, but hey, with those other 2 in the next Spider-Man wave, you know, we could see additional ones come out the next wave. When the next game comes out, I'm sure we'll get more, and there'll probably be better planning when it comes to it. I'll be happy with it. But looking at these 2, Hasbro actually did a pretty good job, so we can't knock Hasbro for what they did. I think they used the right body. The head, they probably shouldn't have used that head because that's the Spider UK head. It's a little wide, but otherwise, figure-wise, it's actually pretty good. I think it gets the job done. Looking at the deco and everything, it hits all the key points that is in the figure. So, you know, I think for $20, the Marvel Legends one was a great one. I know when it first hit, it was crazy. Everybody wanted it, and then it really slowed down, and nobody wanted it, saying, oh, you get it everywhere. It'll be like Back in Black Deadpool and show up everywhere. That thing's gone. I don't even know what the value of it is now, and I have like 2 or 3 because it's an awesome figure. I wasn't going to pass it up. I love this thing. So Hasbro did a good job with that one. It wasn't packed with accessories or anything like that. You know, it had some of these web lines, so that was cool. It may have had an additional set of hands. I don't even remember at this point, but still a solid figure. Now, 3 3/4 inch, it was there. It was made. It was cool to get something, and then we got the Mr. Negative. So it's cool. Again, I would love to see more villains, but they do look pretty good side by side, but huge difference in size. Now let's see them up with some other Figuarts Spider-Man figures. Okay, so here's the figure next to 2 of the other Figuarts Spider-Man figures. We have the Homecoming and the Far From Home. So the Far From Home was a huge improvement over Homecoming. This Gamerverse figure, I want to say, is basically on par with the Far From Home, but looking at these 2 side by side, one thing that really stands out to me is this one kind of has a little head and big legs, whereas this one I think is proportioned extremely well, and it's definitely a big size difference between the 2. This one's a little bit taller, but the legs are a lot bigger on this guy, and you can see the legs go a little bit higher. So proportionately, Far From Home is definitely better, but this one, it still looks very good. It's aesthetically pleasing, but you know, when you really look at it, you know, the big legs and kind of small head. Now, I tried my best to see if these heads are the same. I looked at the details. While they are very, very similar, I do think that they are different molds, which is kind of crazy, because why wouldn't they have just used the same mold is beyond me. So again, I think those are actually different heads, but let's see if we can kind of swap them out. I know this one's not going to swap, so we're just going to pull that one off. Takes a little bit of force, whereas this one just slides off real easy, and that fits on there. But you know, the reds don't really match. You could see it's a brighter red versus a little bit more of a dull red. Fits on there fine, but it just doesn't work color wise. And so that head fits on there pretty good, and that doesn't. The reds just don't match. Those heads are pretty similar. I think this one, the Far From Home, actually looks a little bit wider, maybe. But something about it. Now I can't not see that this head's a little bit small for the Gamerverse figure. But you guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think? Is it too small, or do you think it's a good size? Alright guys, there is my review. You guys let me know down in the comments below. Is this something that you have on the way? Are you going to be getting it? What did you guys think of the game? I'm curious. Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I know this is probably a longer video, but with these import figures, it takes me a little bit more time to kind of go over some of the things that it comes with. But you guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to actually watch the video, so thank you guys.